you know, honestly, the funny thing about anxiety, you think drinking makes you feel relaxed, but it actually makes it worse. Like the more nights in a row that you do that, it's like you're borrowing from the next day's level of.
This is a weird place to be in. This video and entire segment took a real big turn. Maybe an important one though at the end of the day, because I think it is important to talk about this kind of shit. Yeah, it just sucks because I wish there was even like a slight little piece of self-awareness for someone like the Quartering to recognize, because all of this is true. I mean, everything he's saying is completely correct. Like, you know, people using drugs as coping mechanisms isn't healthy. Things that are affecting your life in that way isn't healthy. Being stuck in this cycle that he is clearly isn't healthy. None of that is a good thing. But you should also recognize there's other people whose lives you make infinitely more difficult. And I'm not even talking about, like, you know, putting into the ether concepts that like vilify trans people or stuff like that. I'm talking about like direct one-to-one examples of people, you know, feminine presenting and or female game journalists who have had direct threats and had to lock their accounts on Twitter and because of the stuff that you put out. If you're following the latest Musk stuff, there wasn't actually a lot of muskiness in the past 24 hours. Usual, like him being the reply guy for a whole bunch of alt-right people. The Quartering had to come out. I think the Quartering admitted that he was wasted when he was doing that whole, like, up for 24 hours, we have to change the world by voting in this thing. Actually, I should probably investigate that. Hold on. Hillary Rand's destroyed for insane hypocrisy. Mr. Beast is the new Twitter CEO because Elon Musk replied to him. Elon Musk rages on hater, destroys entitled former Twitter. Ethan Klein supports Epstein. Shocking Old Testament resurface. What? FBI issues insane line. They need our help. My mental breakdown. Okay, so I wanted that one, but I also want to see the Ethan Klein one now.
And the H3 podcast. I wouldn't just, I mean, this isn't like just going to some hate subreddit and pulling stuff out of context and then repeating it on your show for hundreds of thousands of people. This is true. Ethan Klein, investigative journalism. This is the gold standard. Taylor Lorenz only dreams of having the now. I put all of our
sourcing and roasting the very
be a big fan of Jeffrey.
Ethan tweeted, even though Jeffrey Epstein committed horrible crimes, I do still miss him on nights like this for his own. Oh my God. Oh my God. You have to be kidding me. Okay, say you're doing this ironically as a bit, because if not, I'm going to explain to you what's happening here. And it's if this is not a bit, this is up there with some of the most embarrassing things the Quartering has ever done.
Cocoa, make it with.
I have debunked this instantaneously in my brain already.
The milk, and it's absolutely delicious. Now, this is Ethan Klein tweeting this 100% in context.
Yes,
I don't know what
it's a bit
he's saying here. Even though Jeffrey, you know that Jeffrey committed horrible crimes. I do.
Yeah, it's a bit. He's a really bad actor.
Show you some of a little, I mean, again, premium journalistic integrity here.
Yeah, no, he's just a really shitty actor.
I'd like us to have a look.
I don't even remember what day it was. Saturday night, Sunday night, I don't know. Whenever Elon was...
sorry, for anyone who's not in the know, he was parodying Elon Musk, and he switched back to his regular account after... So he got his account back. And this one actually will sideline for 2 seconds, because he responded to me, and so I have to give shout-outs where shout-outs are due, and also give the trolls what they want. Yes, I misspelt Machiavellian, fine, or I mean, Jordan Peterson did, it wasn't me. Anyways, yesterday I saw that Elon Musk, the real Elon Musk, had written out, you know, Jordan Peterson is a dick riding piss baby. And I was like, Elon Musk, why would you say such things? But then I realized that it was at H3H3 Productions, and it was Ethan Klein who was impersonating Elon Musk at the time. And so then I don't know if this is real or not. It's impossible to know. But then Jordan Peterson was like, I was beside myself contemplating how I could have wronged the great Elon, but quickly realized that it was Ethan Klein, the Machiavellian troll demon from H3H3, who was the apple cider to my grandmother's pubes. And this one actually went a wee bit viral, and as it was going a wee bit viral, a bunch of people were fucking dropping in my ats, being like, this is fucking disgusting. Once again, Serfs tries to be edgy and failed. Obsessed with Elon's grandmother's pubic hair, filth, like so many replies like that. I was like, take this up with fucking the good doctor. 'Twas not me who invoked grandmother's pubic brush. That's not my dream. That's not only not my dream, something that I not only not dreamed, but then decided this is a good thing to put into my novel that's going to inspire generations of people. No, you keep this shit to yourself. In fact, you should probably take those things to an actual psychiatrist who can help you with these things and move through these emotions. Because, this is your issue. Don't make it everyone else's. But this is a direct quote on screen right now from The Architecture of Belief, where Jordan Peterson talks about a dream where his grandmother is masturbating absent-mindedly, and then all of a sudden starts fucking hitting him in the face with a brush made of her pubes. And then he says, she's like, isn't it soft? And I looked at her ruined face and said, yes, Grandma. It's all like, what the fuck is this shit? This should have been a career ender, okay? Right before Jordan Peterson took off and exploded into the good doctor that we know him as today, you genuinely should, like, this should have just been a roadblock where it's like, oh, this guy, he's standing up for free speech. He's saying he doesn't want to use preferred pronouns. He's not going to say Z or Zer. He's taking a stance. Look at this hero. It's like, oh, crazy. Yeah, he's got this book, The Architecture of Belief. What about this? Oh, yeah. No, fuck that. Fuck that. Oh, shit. No, he needs to be institutionalized. Don't want to fucks with that.
Putting his future as CEO to a Twitter poll, and it's not a great video. It's not a great look. You know, people really aren't supposed to see you like that. I'd definitely been relaxing heavily throughout the night. I was ready to go to bed. I had about about a liter of vodka coursing through my veins.
I'm definitely not someone who speaks out against substance use or abuse. If you enjoy drugs and you use them in a safe way that doesn't impact your life, power to you. You know, I think a lot of drugs get a bad rap, especially the illegal ones, because we often associate the illegal ones with some kind of like shady element, crime element, and then the prescription ones are coffee or alcohol. Those ones are all amazing. Cigarettes, yeah, more please. But that being said, if you're rolling on a liter of vodka and then making videos where you are calling out fellow creators and demanding, he was demanding, like fucking under threat of like ending their friendship, that they join this Twitter poll because it's important. You said it was the most important battle for free speech in the history of humanity. That's the shit you were going down. So I think that should be a wake-up call. I mean, I think we should use this as a learning moment. Again, a liter of vodka. If you have a liter of vodka coursing through your system and you are sentient enough to be able to fucking get to a computer, turn on a camera, record it, I think at that point you're definitionally a high-functioning addict. You know, to give a speech, to blah blah blah. But you're right. It's not a good look. I mean,
and I had called it a night after just absolutely losing my mind on Twitter, saying some insane things, and then culminated by an unhinged video upload that was so bad that I had people like mothers of friends of mine telling them to like
Unintendo. Okay, shout out to Unintendo. I would say the official Serfs meme master. Like, Unintendo's always making Serf memes. Anyway, so this is a direct quote from the things that he was saying in this video. Look, I'm 40. I'm tired. I'm sweaty. I'm fat. I'm overweight. I'm not long for this planet. But freedom of speech, at least some semblance of it, some semblance of a fair and balanced, this is hard to read, of a fair and balanced playing field. I want democracy. I want... Okay, Unintendo, I can't read this one. To have their voice. I want liberals to have their voice. Or Republicans. I want the leftists to have their voices heard. Okay, now we're back. But if you are not waking up and creating a Twitter account right now to vote no, to tell Elon Musk to not step down from Twitter, you don't care as much as I do. Amazing. Incredible. He will never stop simping for it.
Reach out and make sure I was okay. Not the call you want to get. I had like really just didn't think anything of it. I had been under like last week was like,
wait, people were reaching out asking if you're okay. Jeremy, come on. Hey, you know what? We do a lot of shitting on Jeremy, and justifiably so. He's a racist, transphobe, sexist, misogynist. He's basically all of them. You want the fucking the Swiss Army knife of bigotry? That's fucking the transphobic wizard known as Jeremy the Quartering. So yeah, he's a massive piece of shit. No problem in calling him out all the time. But I will say, you know, in the spirit of the holidays, let's just say it's important for men to be open about their mental health, because men are not. All right, men don't talk about their feelings. Men don't talk to other men about them being emotional. Men don't make themselves emotionally vulnerable, because if you do, you're seen as a pussy. No one wants to be a pussy or a bitch, right? You want to be a tough ass man, because tough ass mans are the Chads, and the Chads gets the Stacys, and if you get the Stacys, then you have the babies, and humanity is saved, and so on and so on. So all that being said, it's probably good that he is obviously having an open discussion about mental health. If people are coming at you, if you have friends, colleagues, coworkers asking if you're okay because you are on a liter of vodka in the middle of the night, demanding that your, again, friends, coworkers create Twitter accounts to be able to vote in a poll to save Elon Musk being the CEO, as if this was a real thing and a real problem, that should probably be a wake-up call. That should probably be like, that's the moment you can tell later on where it's like, oh, well, for me, it got to this point. I mean, there was a lot of warning signs. There was, of course, the multiple instances that had happened, the pissing in the basement, the shitting myself in Walmart, all that kind of stuff, the telling everyone that I had multiple gay black fathers in order to defend accusations of homophobia or racism. You know, when people are coming at me being like, you're a racist, I could say, well, I've got a black dad. And if they're like, well, you're a homophobe, I could be like, I got 2 black dads. And they'd be like, well, you posted a photo of your father, he wasn't black. It's like, well, I got my biological father is in a relationship with my other 2 gay black dads, checkmate. And you're like, okay, wake up calls, you know?
Probably the most pressure I've ever had in my life. And I wanted to tell you guys how I got there, and obviously let everyone know I'm okay, 100% okay, feeling good. Made some quick changes, some reroutes. The commentary community is having a fun time dunking on me for that video. That's how it works. That's how the system works. I don't need anybody. I got a lot of emails from people saying, oh, did you see this?
Channel 5? Nice.
Yeah, that's the economy. You give them some fuel, they're going to do what they got to do. I would do the same. Okay. So I, whatever. If there's one.
Is this whole, are you going to get to the, okay. So, okay. You know what? I'm going to listen. I want to hear his explanation. We're going to give him fair dues
when I have good ones. So obviously Coffee Brand Coffee was new this year. This is how I got to basically like my freak out on Saturday night, and immediately made some changes on Sunday, and have obviously been feeling much better. So just to give you an idea where I was at, Coffee Brand Coffee had immense success this year, far more than I expected, and I thought it would do well. We had done this gift box promotion, which I knew would do well, and it did.
Oh, okay. If you don't know the lore behind this, he was doing what technically might be a crime. That was a funny story. So they were doing this gambling thing where they would just randomly throw bills into coffee packaging, and he had a video where he shows the coffee thing. He's like, all right, everybody, here we go. Lucky Coffee Brand Coffee customers, you get $100 bill. You don't, and you get 100. And then there's a bunch of people came out, especially in r/the quarter is a Nazi, who were like, I don't know if you could do that. This might be unlicensed gambling, Jeremy. Just to be clear.
It did very well. What I didn't know was that they took forever to fulfill. Where maybe a regular order might take 2 minutes. These things were taking 5 or 6 or 7 minutes at a time, and sometimes 10 minutes, depending on how complex they were configured. And I completely overwhelmed my fulfillment center. Had to turn off gift boxes, which made me feel awful.
Okay, awesome. I'm so successful. It's hard.
And I've made corrections in my fulfillment center going forward next year that we'll be able to crush. Cheap, $2,500 each, and $500 a month each. I had 3 of them, 4. And the idea was that, or 3 of them, the idea was that I was going to bond the connections. So I had bought 3 of these dishes. All the cords were hanging out my window. It's 2 degrees outside. You got them pinch through the window. I bought a $6,000 piece of hardware. It's $5,000 or $6,000, a Peplink 580X to bond the connections, and it didn't work. Every night I was spending trying to make the thing work. Turns out I had found out that Starlink essentially doesn't allow it. So I was sitting on at least 5,000.
Yeah, cool story, bro.
That was a lot of money floating around. This, 20,000. Oh no, 5 and 6, so $11,000. That I was like, oh my god, I wasted all this money. So I was able to get that refunded. So that's going on. While also then, the Crowder stuff is going on. And look, I volunteered to help him, okay? And I would do it again. And I would embarrass myself again in a weird Saturday night drunken rampage video about going to vote on a Twitter poll that doesn't really matter. I can't share so much inside baseball, but what I can say is what was publicly available is that the most important point of his life, his website went down. And so I stepped in along with Zach from Meta PCs. We worked all night long to get a new dedicated server set up for him so that he could transition over to his new site. There was a huge,
Whoa, okay, so I mean, I wasn't mining, but now that I have, we found some new lore. If you don't know, Steven Crowder, and we don't know the reason, has left the Blaze. We don't know if he was dropped, we don't know if he left of his own accord. What we do know is that Steven Crowder has been furiously trying to get people to subscribe to his brand new website. I didn't know, behind the scenes, the Quartering was secretly the one setting that up. So we have made a new behind the scenes connection.
I mean, I don't think he's going to care if I say this, but there was a huge...
We called it Squarespace. Can you imagine? All right, we had to go, you know, Yay style, DEF CON 3. We basically all night stayed up. You know, we were drinking coffee brand coffee, hallucinating because it's mostly filled with barbiturates. And then soon enough, I was like, hey, Crowder, I got you. Okay, I've set you up a new website. I use this really secret HTML5 coding language called Wix.com, but it's all good to go. You can get people to sign up for your mug club now.
bot spam attack that injected millions of fake spam addresses, and I had never really had to deal with this before. So like it went from like, you know, for the infrastructure side of it I could handle, but then I was like, why are there millions and millions of email addresses? Like, this shouldn't be the right number. And I had to figure out a way to scrub them and then get the captcha on the website, and that'll fix it all. But again, like, all this is going on at the same time on Saturday night. I'm like, why are there millions and millions and millions and millions of addresses in this? You know, the mail service is charging me a fortune.
Okay, so to recap, he was so successful, he was doing so well, but having trouble fulfilling orders because he, again, was just so successful, and his coffee company is so incredible, and he's so rich now. And then he spent a whole bunch of money on having all this kind of like satellite technology at his home to be able to watch a whole bunch more TV and channels and all that great stuff. But then it wasn't working, and the connection wasn't yeah, but he got a refund on everything, so he didn't actually waste any money there. But then Steven Crowder left the Blaze, and then because of that, he had to help him upset his Wix.com website, you know, a square space of an issue. And then on top of all that, just the perfect storm, you know, no one has suffered more. Elon decides that he's going to host a poll on whether or not he should keep himself on as CEO.
It's going up by like 500,000 email addresses an hour. Anyway, they refunded that. I got all that handled. So as a summary, Crowder's good. Got that handled. Starlink satellites issue. Got that handled. Peplink router. Got that handled. Coffee brand coffee. Got that handled. But all of that was going on at once. Add to that, coping with liquor, you get a ridiculous meltdown video, an embarrassing video, where I have to get a phone call from a friend who's like, dude, are you going to like jump off a cliff or something? And it was like, it's weird. I've never really gotten a call like that before. And like, I know you're supposed to react like, oh, it's so cool that you care and blah, blah, blah. But that's not how I reacted. I was like angry and embarrassed. You know what I mean? That I had to like let myself get this thin. Spread that thin.
Okay, I have absolutely no sympathy or pity for the Quartering because he spends his life, he makes money from making people's lives horrible. He makes money from marginalizing communities that are already marginalized. He makes money from fucking making trans kids less safe. He makes money from making gay people hate themselves. He makes money, like, it's, you name it. He hates indigenous people, black, all this kind of shit. That's where he fucking profits. So I have no sympathy for the Quartering. But for anyone experiencing a situation like this outside of the Quartering, please, you know, if you have friends reaching out to you, if you have friends asking if you are okay, listen to them. You know, they may, that may be the moment that saves your life. That may be the moment that turns everything around. Obviously, like, you have to take that shit seriously, and it fucking sucks because, again, dudes can't talk about this shit. And that's the problem. I stress this all the time. Patriarchy sucks for dudes too, okay? There's nothing great about living your entire life not being able to ever open yourself up emotionally or talk to anyone, and if you do, you're worried that you'll be called a pussy for it. That shit is fucked. It's so fucked that, like, I remember the other day, I was like, I had this whole little weird epiphany where I was like, every single, you know, girlfriend I've ever had in my life, I always resented them, and I was always mad at them for talking to other women about our issues. And I was like, oh, fucking, why are you telling them all our fucking shit? Like, these are like personal issues. Why would you ever do that? And then it was like, you didn't clue into the fact that you don't do that because guys don't do that at all. Like, there's no like, hey man, can we meet up? Sure, what do you want to do? I really need to talk to you about my emotions. That doesn't happen. There's not, oh, sweet dog, yeah, here, let me grab a fucking bottle of rosé, I'll head on down and we'll have ourselves a little talk. No, it's like, hey, do you want to go watch the game? Sweet, yeah, that was good. Yeah, that was good. See you. Bye, bro. Peace. So, yeah, it is a very important thing going forward that dudes feel comfortable opening up about this kind of shit, talking about this kind of shit. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of fucking strength, okay? It's hard to make yourself emotionally vulnerable. It's hard to go in front of someone else and have the courage to be like, hey, by the way, I'm not okay. You know, things are fucked. I'm not all right. That's tough. That's hard. It's hard to sit there and hear someone say, I'm not okay, and not be like, I'm going to discount this. I'm in an awkward situation, so I'm going to probably make an awkward joke to try and get away from this, because I don't have to deal with this situation right now. Like, yeah, is anyone okay? Fucking, was Epstein okay? Anyways, let's go grab some beers, bro. No, it's a lot harder to be like, holy shit, you're not okay? Like, let's talk. What's wrong? That's also hard. But that's the way it should be. That's way healthier for everyone. It's healthier if dudes can actually express themselves, and it's healthier and safer for the world in large if a whole bunch of men don't bottle everything up inside and just feel like, well, I can never really emotionally express myself. I'm really upset. Life sucks. Hope I'm not going to turn to violence, because, you know, is there another outlet? I can't really think of one at this moment in time.
But, you know, like, my mental health is in a great spot. I feel amazing. I feel like 2023 is going to be amazing. I've talked about this before. Like, I finally quit smoking. It's been like 2 months now, so I feel like I've got that monkey off my back. Now, speaking of the liquor, clearly the usage of that as a way to like blow off steam after working all day became way too often. And so I made some changes. I don't want to like tout them too much, because it's been like 3 days since I decided I would do this. But I'm definitely not. You know, some people might say, "I'll just quit liquor altogether." I don't know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say no drinking during the 1 day a week only, and none during the week, and not uploading videos from it. You know, I have been in my feels a little bit. It's Christmas time. You know, I'm going on 40. You know, some things are working out really, really good for me in life. So others are a challenge. But every morning I wake up feeling blessed and energized to get right up to my office and record videos.
I never know what to do or say when I can clearly see my boyfriend isn't okay, but he buries his feelings. Yeah, that's fucking tough. Honestly, you know, obviously it's going to be hard coming from, you know, his partner, because like dudes are also pre-programmed to, you know, in a defensive, protective way. If you try to bring up things that may genuinely help them, sometimes they see that as like a call out, and then all of a sudden they're like, what the fuck? Why are you talking to me about this? I'm fine. Fuck off. But that's why I really recommend online communities like Reddit/r/men's lib, because it is kind of like a safe environment for dudes, anonymously if they want to post questions, or even just get shit off their chest, and have a giant community full of other people who are going to approach it from like an intersectional feminist perspective. Other dudes, I mean, it's mostly, you know, dudes, but it's like, it's dudes who are being like, there's no wrong question. You can feel safe to ask this kind of shit, to get this stuff off your chest, etc. But we're also not going to reinforce, you know, patriarchal ideas. So we're going to explain why it's maybe a wrong thing for you to have these rigid gender stereotypes or these kind of shit like that. It's an open subreddit, and it's really, really good.
And, you know, it's because of like all of my viewers, and also like, yeah, so many people.
Yeah, we're so toxic and fucked. It's still not normal to show your feelings as a dude, so I don't. It just feels risky, sadly. And that's the fucked up thing. The world would be such a better place if this wasn't such a massive problem, but it is. And it's like, it's like everything else. It's like racism. It's like you don't always notice how much, especially at my age, later in life, how much of this stuff is just encoded by just mainstream media. Just like growing up as just like, you know, a Westerner in Canada, or you growing up as a Westerner in America, or even someone in Europe, or even other parts of the world. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't have to be Western too. You could be in South and Central America, where machismo is such a massive problem. But just all media, films, movies, they reinforce all this shit that you don't even think of. And so by the time you actually reflect upon it, you're like, oh, weird. Oh yeah, no, there's just so much coded shit I didn't even think about. Yeah, that's all up there. That's that's circulating around.
And you know, there were a lot of people in the comment section of that video that were like, bro, you know, like, chill out, you need to rest. And it's true, I wasn't taking care of myself. I haven't, you know, even I still need to get a haircut. Meg usually cuts my hair, but she's been sick. But I was like, my beard was all out of messed up.
The villains always have accents. Yeah, depends on the generation too. There was that large period of time where the bad guys, it was completely safe to make the bad guys Russians. But then everything switched, and then it was completely safe to make the bad guys Muslims. Yeah, all of a sudden the bad guys were always brown Muslim in all these action films. It's like, oh, whoa, yeah, I guess they are really trying to kill us all.
I wasn't like taking care of myself. I was waking up, working all day, drinking at night, going to bed. Waking up, working all day, drinking at night, going to bed. Waking up, working all day, streaming, working more, drinking, going to bed. You know, it starts out, it's pervasive. You know, it starts out like it's a live stream. Just have a little fun, loosen up a little bit. Well, when you're live streaming 5 nights a week, it gets a little out of control. So thankfully I had like, you know, kind of self-realized that it was getting a little out of control. And that, you know, honestly, the funny thing about anxiety, as like, you know, a thing that I deal with is that, you think drinking makes you feel relaxed, but it actually makes it worse. Like the more nights in a row that you do that, it's like you're borrowing from the next day's level of
This is a weird place to be in. This video and entire segment took a real big turn. Maybe an important one though at the end of the day, because I think it is important to talk about this kind of shit. Yeah, it just sucks because I wish there was even like a slight little piece of self-awareness for someone like the Quartering to recognize, because all of this is true. Everything he's saying is completely correct. Like, you know, people using drugs as coping mechanisms isn't healthy. Things that are affecting your life in that way isn't healthy. Being stuck in this cycle that he is clearly isn't healthy. None of that is a good thing. But you should also recognize there's other people whose lives you make infinitely more difficult. And I'm not even talking about like, you know, putting into the ether concepts that like vilify trans people or stuff like that. I'm talking about like direct one-to-one examples of people, feminine presenting and or female game journalists who have had direct threats and had to lock their accounts on Twitter and shit because of the stuff that you put out, because of the videos that you make. And because it's not just the rhetoric, but the rhetoric itself is really bad. But there are also direct examples of that. And contributing to their anxiety, contributing to their shitty day, contributing to their fear and paranoia and all that kind of stuff. You know, that's what you do for a living. So, yes, I do not want anyone to experience these kind of things. That's obviously something that people should be open about. And please, if you have resources, whether they be family or friends, seek them out to try and get help. And it takes bravery, not fear, to admit that you need help. This is all very healthy and good stuff. But also the Quartering makes a living making people's lives worse. So both can be true at once. Both can be real, true statements, you know, to say the least.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demmel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arney, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tao, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojack, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.